Repeat after me. Just because somebody is miserable does not mean that I have to become like them. Just because somebody is miserable does not mean that I have to become like them. Welcome or welcome back. It's your favorite mental health specialist, Ty Guidance. And yes, that is what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Now, with that being said, because there's no right or wrong way to heal yourself, always and only take what resonates as well as leave the rest. So if it doesn't apply, then that means it's not in line, which means it is not for you, so don't force it. As well as grab your pens, grab your paper, and be prepared to take notes. In this video, we're going to talk about how misery loves company and how you don't need to be a part of that entanglement. Shout out to you, Jada. Okay, but in engage or react or respond. Like, just because somebody is miserable doesn't mean that you have to allow that to affect you. As well as some recommendations, some reminders, some disclaimers, and just certain things to be aware of. So starting off the first disclaimer, starting off with the introduction. You don't have to be miserable just because misery exists. Now, of course, when you are constantly witnessing misery, automatically you may subconsciously pick up on certain habits because that's all you've been exposed to. That's all you witnessed. So if you grew up, let's just say, in poverty and everyone else had a impoverished mindset financially and spirit, yes, it may have been your normal, but you have to realize that there's so much more to life than what you see in front of you. And in order for you to experience this level of awareness, you have to decide that you don't want to be miserable. That's the first disclaimer. Being aware that there are negative people in this world, there are people in this world who choose to be on a lower vibration, there are people who are willfully ignorant, but you don't have to partake in it. You need to be aware that there's quote unquote good, bad, evil. What's the opposite of evil? Love and light. Okay, I can't, or love, yeah, or yeah, like hate and whatever. Anyways, you need to make a decision. The second disclaimer, which we'll break down with the recommendations. The second disclaimer, once you realize that misery is a choice, is allowing yourself to feel negative emotions and negative thoughts, but coming up with solutions. Surrounding yourself with people who are educating you, who are informing you, who have guidance, who have the resources, who have the access, who are not going to withhold support, who are not going to drain you, who are not going to talk down on you, who are willing to genuinely support you, and who are not envious of you. The reason why that's so important is because when you are a happy-go-lucky person, when you want to be high vibrational and you're around people who have lower vibrational energy, automatically, because that's what they've been conditioned to think and feel about themselves, they're going to project and deflect. And I know because I've experienced it in life. I've met a lot of people within the first 28 years of my life. I'm currently 29. This year is not over with. Let me know when you're watching this, and let me know when your birthday is. But I've met some people who had positive light, positive energy, and I've met a lot of people who had negative energy, dark energy. And just because that's something that I've seen and been amongst in real time doesn't mean or didn't mean that I had to consume it. So for example, when you're around people who have this energy, if they're not willing to learn or seek assistance or go to therapy or get help, you have to be able to set boundaries and separate yourself from them, distance yourself, not be so close to them. Because naturally, that's like if somebody's bleeding, eventually the blood will run out on you. So it's like birds of a feather flock together. The company you keep is important. If you have been miserable and you know you're naturally not a miserable person or a negative person, you need to pay attention to who's around you. You need to pay attention to what you watch, what you engage. This is why I tell you guys, if you choose to be here, don't subscribe just to subscribe, okay? If you just want to see me live my life and you're that invested in me, follow me on all my other social media platforms, okay? I post every day, or not every day, but like regular stuff on there. But when it comes to this account, this is serious. Because what happens is the more you continue to surround yourself with people who are not willing to educate themselves or heal or acknowledge that they have wounds, the more you're going to end up being like them. And that's how you stay bitter. And therefore, when people who are not miserable come around, subconsciously and consciously, you end up harassing them or attacking them. Like, a lot of people don't realize how negative or how dysfunctional they are until they get around people who are not dysfunctional. Or they get around people who call them out. And I've dealt with that. And this is why I've fallen out with a lot of people, because even though I witnessed dysfunction as a child with certain people, I never allowed it to consume me. And once I realized that certain people were not all the way there, I have had to separate myself. And because it's like, when you care about yourself, when you respect yourself, you're not tolerating anything less. And if anybody or anything has a problem with you setting boundaries or removing themselves, and you've come to them multiple times to be mature, you just have to let it be what it is. And that's the fourth disclaimer. Like, you can't change people. You have to start seeing people for who they are. Stop trying to see potential. Stop trying to make up an imaginary person about them. What they show you, how they act, everything, minute, subtle, that's who they are. So if somebody really has respect for themselves, how they talk, how they communicate, how they take care of themselves, how they take care of other people, it will show. It doesn't take long. Even with people who are like narcissists and people who try to sit here and wear masks and pretend to be something they're not, when you're looking at them as a whole, you start to realize this person says this, but their action says this. They said this, but their energy said that. Or they did this, but their attitude exposed that. That's like that clip of Michael Jackson, rest in peace to him, when he was distributing cookies, those were his words, quote unquote, to his children. He was able to see, like, when they got what they wanted, how they were going to react or respond, like their true nature. You have to start seeing people's true nature for what it is. Now, just because people are miserable and upset doesn't mean that you have to judge them, or that you have to make fun of them, or that you are better than them. But you just have to know, like, not everyone is giving grace, not everyone is showing love, and not everyone is empathetic. So if you don't want to deal with them, you don't have to. But matching the energy is not going to help you. It's only going to make it worse. And that's going to be part of the first recommendation. You have to work on being mature. You have to work on not always having something to say. This does not make you weak. This does not make you a coward. This doesn't make you less of a person. It just shows how much grace and how much elegance you have, because that's what we promote over here. We're not perfect, but the goal is to be who we know we are. And you get to determine who you are. You don't get to allow other people who don't know you to go to hell, okay? Because that's what miserable people do. You don't get to sit here and judge someone and talk negatively about them, especially when it's a lie. Now, if certain people are doing certain things that it's obvious that people are able to pick up on, but they're willing to work on themselves, they're doing what they need to do. But if you're just somebody who just goes out your way to make rumors, spread lies, and gossip, you're gonna go to hell, okay? For those of you who believe in that. But it's like, see people for what they show you. And narcissists, they can only wear a mask for so long. Like I said, you'll start to pay attention. And this is why it's so important. The second recommendation, when you're allowing people to be who they are and you're not trying to change them, is knowing who you are. The more and more you are aware of your own thoughts and how you feel and how you look at life and how you want to live life, the more and more you're able to determine if somebody's trying to influence you, if somebody's trying to get in the way, or if somebody's trying to be a distraction. The more and more I was able to focus on myself and do the things that I needed to do, the more and more I'm starting to realize, okay, certain people are in the way, and I will move them. I will move them before I, lose anything that I have for myself. Because when you're a miserable person and you're not happy with yourself, you don't want other people to feel the same way. And you'll realize it's not about you. And learning, like I said, to be mature, I'm gonna be so honest, it requires a lot of energy and a lot of effort if you're used to just doing things like your way. But with the people that you love, it's necessary. And that's how you know, like, you're compassionate, which everyone is not taught compassion. So and that's what I've learned too. Like, instead of getting upset about certain people that I've had to remove myself from, or just even like not too long ago, within the past couple of years, with certain people that I knew for a while, I just had to accept, like, these people are dealing with their own internal issues, and them, like, having negative things to say about me, trying to get me fired, spreading lies, trying to provoke me. They're not at peace with themselves. And instead of me matching their energy and yelling or wanting to rah, be aggressive and assertive, just, okay. If you're not willing to get help, because I don't mind helping people who want help, but if you're not willing to seek help and you're not willing to do the work, I'm not here for you. And neither is my content. And that's why everyone's not going to like you or agree with you. And I never asked them to. The people that are for you will be there for you. The people who are not, you don't need to pay attention to them. So as you elevate, as you become successful, people who are not internally feeling that way, they're going to be triggered and challenged. It's not your job to shrink yourself. It's not my job to be palatable on the internet for people who are not at peace with themselves. That is a personal issue. I recommend you see a psychiatrist. I recommend you go to therapy. I recommend, for those of you who are spiritual in religion, you go to your God, ancestors, Orisha, Jesus, Yahweh, Allah, Buddha, and figure it out. Because just because you aren't happy doesn't mean everybody else has to be happy. Especially when you see people are happy like myself who want to be there for you. It's not selfish to choose yourself when it comes to relationships, jobs, or opportunities, because other people are ungrateful or they're not able to realize how valuable you are. I've witnessed that, like, from other people, them being sick, them dying, or them giving to people. Like, I used to be friends with people who would give and never got that same energy in return. Like, I'm not a doormat, and I never have been. I've never been a people pleaser. I've never been a pushover, and I won't. And if you are and you have been, I advocate for you, because I've never been bullied and I don't tolerate it, because it's nothing attractive. It's nothing cool. Miserable people group up on other people. Y'all are not strong. Y'all are weak. You're losers. And that's the only time I'm gonna call you the L word. That's lame. That is loser behavior. Like, that's bum behavior. Confirmation. It's one thing, like I said, if you weren't given, the finances to invest into, like, a therapist or a psychiatrist or to seek mental and professional assistance. It's one thing if you didn't grow up in an environment where you weren't able to articulate yourself and express yourself. It's one thing if you didn't grow up in an environment where you come from love or see love. But it's like, to be willfully ignorant and to willfully just make lies and make things harder for people when you know you have your own problems, you're gonna be dealt with. So it's just like, allow people to do what they want to do, allow them to be who they are, and just distance yourself from them. Like, don't judge them if you can. Like I said, if you're not going to be patient, this is why everyone does not need to do what I do. I have a lot of patience, so like I said, I've learned that. But it's like, once someone is how they are, it's no need to try to see them do anything else. And you'll know if someone loves you and cares you, because even when they have flaws, even when people are wrong, they're constantly trying to improve themselves. If you're going to forgive people and you're going to allow them back into your life, make sure that they change their behavior. Because if they keep apologizing and they're not changing their behavior, or they're not realizing and they're not making progress, it's not going to change. So that man or that woman that keeps doing negative things to you, hurting and harming you, that's who they are. Those family members, those friends that don't support you, that's how they feel. Stop trying to make excuses. I'm telling you, once you realize that somebody is trying to, like, take from you, doesn't pour into you, doesn't do the things that you do, you won't even want to be surrounded by them. So whatever questions, comments, and concerns that you have, let me know down in the comment section down below. Make sure to follow me on all my social media platforms. All the information in the description, as well as booking your service in your session, which I've already stated. And yeah, let me know what you want to talk about. Okay? I don't know why I just did that. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end off the video now. But you're not alone. I love you. You're loved. Until next time, thanks for watching. Peace.